Well, greetings. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Lightbulb Moments. This is episode number 112. We are not live on YouTube, but this is recorded on YouTube so that this is available for replay. Please go check out past episodes of Lightbulb Moments at Qnity on the YouTube channel. I'm Tom Kuhn. I'm host and curator of Lightbulb Moments. Remember, money isn't the most important thing, but it's reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale, as Zig Ziglar said. At Qnity, we are here to help what's complicated, overwhelming, and confusing to a clearer path towards prosperity, using the new rules of engagement, which is simple, visual, and actionable. Remember to prosper, manage your ATM, the three currencies we have in life: attention, time, and money. And it's not lost on us that you are sharing your precious time with us. So thank you. Whether you're listening in live or the recording, we're glad you're with us. Our last guest was Luke Carlson, the CEO and founder of Discover Strength, which is a group of boutique fitness studios. We have followed Luke for many years. He's a tremendous speaker. He's a thought leader. And he had many nuggets of wisdom, so certainly want to listen to that episode. Luke will also be joining us at the Phil, which we're very excited about, including a new twist for Luke's involvement at the Phil, which we'll reveal a little bit later. We love hearing from you. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to hear some shares from our Brain Trust. We really like to hear from members of the community. I'm going to do some light bulb moments at the beginning. My light bulb moments at the beginning will really relate to revisiting something called the gap and the gain, which is top of mind for me. It's a practice, it's a tool, it's a behavior, and I'm super excited to bring you some updates on that. So it's going to be a short share on that, followed by some of our guests. At Qnity, we provide financial wellness for pro beauty, whether it's for students in our Money EDU, for professionals in Money Pro, and for owners and leaders in Money SBO, which stands for Small Business Owners. Save the dates. We have the Phil coming up. It is going to be here in under 9 weeks. It is at the Line Hotel, a beautiful property. And on May 21st, we will have a celebration of Lightbulb Moments. And then on May 22nd and 23rd will be the actual conference. Much of what we do at the conference is provide tools. This year will be full of new tools. I love this quote by Buckminster Fuller. If you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. It's a really good theme or sub-theme to what the Phil is about. The overall theme this year, special theme, is zooming in and zooming out. The ability to zoom in on your business, zoom in on your life, to make meaningful change, but also make sure that you take time to zoom out, fill the bucket, and also look at the big picture. It's a great theme. You'll see how that gets unpacked during the event. We're very excited about that. So if you haven't registered yet, you should do so. The time is, again, a little under 9 weeks, so plenty of time to register. We already have a great group enrolled. We actually have more people, and we had more people enrolled at the end of the year that were signed up than we had at the entire conference last year. Having said that, we will still have Qnity's really signature, make it intimate and make it feel special so that everybody in the room feels like they're welcome, included, and it should be highly engaging. Also, in a little bit, I'm going to invite Lisa Roberg, who is the new executive director of Beauty Changes Lives, to talk about another date coming up, which is April 16th, Sunday, and this is the Changemakers Gala. Lisa and I will go through that in a little bit here. Aaron continues to drop episodes of Money O2, which is Money Oxygen, so you certainly want to check out those episodes. Also, in terms of save the dates, obviously, we have spent a lot of time talking about data, and in particular compensation data, by the groundbreaking A Career in Pro Beauty study. And announcement, we will be beginning submission For 2023, I believe it's as early as next week. It should be next week. And we will have a submission period that will lead us well in advance of the fill. So at the fill, we can reveal the new findings that's going to come from using 2022 data, which is super exciting because we're able to provide trends. The other thing is we've gone to some lengths to simplify the process, make it easier for people to participate, more user-friendly, less steps. So we're really excited to keep this data going because this was not a one and done project. We are going to continue to look for data. Again, the fill is a great time to reveal the data, and keep in mind that we believe that actionable data plus financial literacy can create economic empowerment. So the Qnity Institute is really the new division within Qnity that's leaning in on data, the importance of data. And again, they will be, the Institute will be leading this study. So we'd love to have all of you participate. The process is easy and quick. The more data we have, the better it is for everybody. My Lightbulb Moments last week was really on the heels of Money SBO, which was it last week? I guess it ended last week. Yeah, I got to get my dates right. And last week I shared with you, we have several new, very user-friendly templates to make financial success and financial management so much simpler, easier, including different things that will provide guidance for members of your team in terms of how much they can spend. We also have updated our daily cash flow tracker. We also have a transfer worksheet that helps those that are practicing weekly transfers to create a little bit of structure around that. We've also have some updates to our revenue per foot calculator. And finally, and this is new, we actually did not have this for Money SBO, but in recent days, we now have a new tool that we are perfecting right now, which is an executive summary. Which really is all about a tool to help you zoom out of the business. So you're balancing, you're zooming in through practices such as name to every number, week in, week out, but you also don't miss the big picture because you have a one-pager. It's a very unique tool. This is a beta version of this. Beta version is not like a long time beta version. I'm pretty quick from beta to final. But what it does is it also allows a weekly format to create reporting on the 5 functions of the business so everybody's on the same page. Super excited about those new elements to Money SBO. You'll hear more about them if you're in our Money SBO program. We'll be in touch with how you can get those templates. All right, my Lightbulb moment this week is all about the gap and the gain. Now, the gap and the gain, I'm going to back up here a little bit. So this is a book by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Qnity Chambers is the woman that's featured in this image here. Qnity was a guest speaker at the Phil last year, and she really helped bring life into this concept of the gap of the gain. And it's very top of mind for me because I'm looking back on my journal here. It was February 26th. I really started to re-practice some of the simple things that come out of this. And I really want to use that as a stimulus for all of you to maybe see if the gap and gain can be reapplied for you in your life. Sometimes some of the best ideas we forgot about, or they're not in practice. But there's some go-to practices that came out of this body of work that I'm re-practicing. And the results are tremendous. So let me first of all take you through just a little bit of the basics about the gap and the gain, and then I'm going to give you my interpretation. Really what it's about is, let's see here. I'm going to look at the screen. Most people, especially highly ambitious people, are unhappy because of how they measure their progress. We all have an ideal, which is a moving target. It's like out of reach. When we measure ourselves against the ideal, we're in the gap. However, when we measure ourselves against our previous selves, we're in the gain. The same goes for measuring progress within our companies. We will soon be at the end of a quarter and at the end of a season. And this is really a great time to, as we start moving into this transition from one quarter to another, from one season to another, it's a perfect opportunity as part of your getting closure process to really look at what are the gains over this period of time. Most of my recent practices has been a combination of personal and professional. But I want to give you just a little bit more about the whole idea behind this. It really describes two different ways of thinking. Gap is focused on your thoughts on the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Gain thinking is focusing on how far you've come or the gains you've made. So both styles of thinking have significant consequences for your well-being. The gap thinking is detrimental to your happiness, self-esteem, and physical health. Gain improves all of these different aspects of your life. So, so I'm going to pause here, and this image on the screen, and for those of you who can't see the screen, the images are Qnity journal. It's a gratitudes and accomplishment journal. And this is a practice. Actually, I have all the Qnity tools. This is the one I use the most regularly. I use it every day. And I have a streak going back to, I'll tell you when it was. It was the beginning of June 2020 that I've continued to keep this up. And but just because you keep a journal doesn't mean that the journal really gets the results you want. Sometimes you have to like pause when you're journaling and measuring your gratitudes and accomplishments and really let them sink in. And that's where I think the gap and the gain is a really great complement to this. So, let me unpack this just a little bit more, and maybe some things that you may have missed in this whole gap and the gain thinking. And here's a big one, and this really applies to my aha. My light bulb moment that I had almost a month ago that brought this into practice. So I have kept the gap and the gain in right next to my bed, and I've had this Post-it note on there saying PM, nighttime. And something that many may have missed in this body of work is the idea that came out of it to maximize the highest leverage hour of the day. What's the highest leverage hour of the day? It's right before you go to bed, because you have that long period where a lot of things happen in your subconscious. And it's such a simple practice. And it's really identifying 3 wins before you go to bed. So what are wins? Well, a win can be anything. We all have our own definition of what a win is. And really just that practice for me recently, just right before going to bed, of just mentally just rehearsing what were the 3 wins for the day. My biggest challenge is stopping at 3. You're supposed to stop at 3, but I guess I break that rule, because many nights as I'm laying awake and I'm just about ready to go to bed, I'm thinking, all right, what were my wins for the day? And I get to 3 and I get to 4, I get to 5, and and then it's like, all right, then I fall asleep. Now, I am guilty of having my cell phone right next to my bed, but I don't check it. It's upside down. It's essentially turned off. But I guess maybe I'm just this type of person that in case some unimagined emergency come, I'm going to need my phone next to my bed. But really, question to you is, how many of you is the last thing before you go into sleep looking at your phone? And pause and really think about what that does, because there's a lot of studies maybe about what that does. The gap and the gain, guilty as charged, says Tracy. Yes, amen. And another thing that comes out of the book, by the way, Tracy, is all progress starts by telling the truth. Now, part of the truth is that, hey, I'm not perfect as a practitioner of the gap of the gain. I live in the gap a lot, probably too much, but I'm a work in progress like the rest of us, right? And now there's other things in the gap and the gain that really tie into the Qnity methodology and thinking. And We're all about a growth mindset, and we should speak to that more. I mean, I'm really attracted to people that have a growth mindset, that have a forward focus, but that's hard. Our brain, as many of you have heard us share, is like Teflon and Velcro. We are like Teflon for positive experiences. They just kind of roll off, we forget about them. But the negative experiences, the gaps, are like Velcro. They just stick. And a lot of it has to do with our brain and how it's designed, the amygdala, and how we're really just taught, and it's part of our DNA, not taught, it's part of our DNA, that we'll pay more attention to things that create fear factors. The gap in the gain really trains us to focus on the gains. And it's not very long before a new normal just becomes part of our DNA. We really forget about our progress very quickly. I recall that in many workshops that we were doing over several years, we would do an activity. It was teaching someone how to use a 9 grid. And we would say, okay, everybody, this is how you use a 9 grid. And I'll put in the center my accomplishments year to date. And we'd walk around the room and give it a little bit of time. Some people would just start writing. Some people would write frantically, but there was a very, very high percentage of people that just stared at a blank 9 grid. I mean, it's like, just stared. They couldn't even think of one accomplishment for the year. And that really had a big impact to me. I thought, well, that reinforces once again the importance of journaling, the importance of making a daily habit, because the reality is every single person standing in that room or sitting in that room staring at the 9 grid had hundreds and hundreds of wins, but their brain isn't just trained to do it. That's one of the reasons I'm going through this again with you, because I really think it's so important. Living in the gap is a habit, and living in the gain is a habit. And this very, very simple practice of 3 wins a day has a compounding effect similar to compound interest on an investment. And so, so as we go into ending a quarter, ending a season, starting a new quarter, starting a new season, as you all get ready to see us at the Phil, I would love to see how many of you just practice this very simple habit before going to sleep. I do believe that journaling is key. Again, it's really easy to forget your wins. And I'd love to see if anybody can start a streak that would really help them start living in the gain more with this 3 wins a day habit. Now, if any of you have a moment and want to put a chat in the screen, or chat about maybe some wins you had yesterday or wins you've had year to date, that'd be great. Meanwhile, I'm going to pull the screen back up here, and what I want to do is say that the first one to put in the chat, I want this. We will go ahead and send an Audible of the book. So first one to put in the chat, I want this. We'll get your email address. We'll send this on to you, and you can get the Audible version of the book. Now, heads up, the book and the Audible are different from each other. It's the same content, but the Audible is a longer version because it includes thoughts and wisdoms from Dan Sullivan, who's the creator of this idea. So, all right. So hopefully we've got someone that we're going to send this to. Let's see who it might be here. Celebrate another birthday. All right. Well, I can't see. I've got to keep moving. I'll let that get managed in the chat. It also, the Audible also includes a PDF that really does some visuals on the difference between the gap and the gain. So, okay, so let's end my light bulb moments, and I'm going to invite some. I'm going to start out with we're going to start out with Tracy Herring. So let's give it a moment for whoever's quick on the fingers here to bring Tracy into the conversation. Would be great. We're going to then, there she comes. Then we're going to follow with Christine from DV8, and then we're going to follow with Jan. Tracy, how the heck are you?
I'm good. Good. Enjoyed the first part of this meeting already. So many good nuggets there, Tom.
I have to tell you, the podcast you did with Aaron was amazing.
Thank you.
Everybody needs to listen to it. It was amazing. It was, yes, moving.
Yeah. Made me very vulnerable, but I think it was a story that needed to be told. Yeah.
Incredible. Incredible. All right. I digress.
Okay.
Tracy, I believe that your share today has to do with head and heart. As a leader, you know, when the head, when the heart. So take it away. And thanks again for agreeing to be such a great member of the Brain Trust and sharing with us.
Oh, you're very welcome. And this was top of my list because it's just been on my mind this year already. So we have we had a startup location 5 years ago. Sadly, I would say it's still in startup mode because of some of the things I'm going to share here. But that startup location, we had already churned through a couple of location leads. That should have been my first clue that you don't hire wrong that many times. So it's got to be something that you're doing, right? Okay. So anyway, this was our third fit, and this gentleman named Jay showed up, and he was everything we thought we needed. He came with experience. He came with Aveda experience, which was important to us. He had managed a location before, etc. And so it started off really good. Then COVID hit, you know, and we had that year, almost 2 years of fluctuation. So what I found is during that 2 years, we started making a lot of excuses, kind of blaming it on COVID, where some of it was more, you know, it was challenges that we needed to address. And so when we got out of making all the COVID excuses and decided to get really serious about executing and improving our business, been doing a lot of work with you guys on improving our execution. The gaps in this individual's ability to do what we needed him to do really started showing up. Okay. Well, by this time he had been with us 3 years. Okay. And we had gotten too emotionally invested in this individual. Okay. It's a small location, only 8 people there, you know, everything about everybody. And so this person had a very, a chaotic personal life. I'll put it that way. Very chaotic. And so every time we would get close to making a decision on maybe, you know, moving forward without him, something chaotic would happen in his life. And then we would go, oh, you know, gosh, now's not a good time for him. Let's give it, you know, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. Then we'd get frustrated again. And so this cycle went on, you know, I'm embarrassed to say almost 2 years. And then but about a year into it, I had it up to here. So I told my director of operations, make a change over there. Well, then she said, I don't believe I've given him everything he needs. I don't believe I've given him enough time, enough coaching, et cetera. So I allowed her that space to try to get to where she needed to get. And then it wasn't working. So I finally just said, okay, it's enough. And so we made the very hard decision to terminate the end of last month. And immediately things got better. I mean, the morale of the team the next week just shot through the roof. Guess what? This individual found another job within 2 weeks that was more fitting for him. But the fact I've done a lot of, you know, not living in the gap, but going back and examining that gap of, you know, why it took me as the owner of the business so long to draw that line in the sand and say enough is enough. Was that I was just going off of my heart and not my head. And then, you know, I finally realized my job as the owner is to protect the business, not the individuals in the business, you know, so much. And what I was doing was protecting him and not the business.
What a great light bulb moment. And I have no doubt that this resonates with many, many people joining us, Tracy. So you've already got some applause going. So thank you for that light bulb moment. I think that resonates maybe more than you can even imagine with several listeners. So thank you. I appreciate it. Let's we might tap into you a little bit later, but I'm seeing some other shares coming here, and I know we've got Christine from DV8. So let's get Christine the mic here, and let's see Christine this morning. What a great share, Tracy. Christine, she is of DV8. Here she comes right here. And Christine, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great to see you again, as usual.
Always. Very, very happy to be here.
Tell
Love
us
hearing
about
all the things so far.
Excellent. Tell us about your light bulb moments.
Yes, our companies, they're based on 3 core values: love, connection, and integrity. And more recently, we've had one popping up as like needing attention most, and that is connection. And we, more specifically, the connection of really what it looks like for our stylists, our team members as a whole, to show up, why they're showing up and how they're showing up. So connecting to those specific things. And so this year we introduced Money Pro, and that has been a grounding force at building that connection of really why they are showing up, and then us having a platform to holding them accountable to showing up with how they want to show up. They've all committed to it, and much to what Tracy's saying, you see that heart side show up so frequently, of how you want to nurture your team and support them in growth, but how they are connecting to showing up is going to then be a barrier. If they're not showing up connected, they're not then able to connect with their guests, their teammates, and really understand why they in their hearts are doing what they're doing. And so with this Money Pro, we recently launched an internal challenge and it was much off of the Tuesday transfer. So every week we have everyone saving 1%, whether it be of just their paycheck or of their bank account. We gave them that choice. And it's truly just for the behavioral piece. Like, the money is not the importance of it. It's just that habit. But what's super cool is within the last, this is week 3 of us doing it. Those first 2 weeks that we had that challenge running, we had conversations and action popping up pretty much immediately. Things that it was like pulling teeth previously to get through. And one of them, so like, for example, one of our girls, she has been struggling with debt, paying off debt for years. And always seeing her paycheck was like a point of desperation and scarcity, because she never felt it was enough to do all the things she wanted to do. Whereas now, doing this savings challenge, it's prompted her to be paying off that debt on a weekly basis, accelerating the payment on her debt, which now has her conceptualizing how to buy a house. She has it's this huge aha moment that has come from her. That's just, and it's contagious, because then she's talking about it and all the others are hearing her like, wait a second, I could totally benefit from this as well. And it's given us as leadership such a foundational, authentic tool to really connect with them on what they're doing and how they're doing it, and really being able to take them to the next level in their own personal lives and then their professional lives as well.
You also noted that well-founded, noted about a lot of negativity in money right now. Interest rates, bank collapse, threat of recession. I mean, so I think what I'm also hearing is this is about building a positive money mindset.
It is. And whether it be, I think just mindset in general, that was something all from 2022. It popped up with literally every challenge we saw was rooted in mindset. And it can kind of go back to money almost every single time. It's not necessarily about the money, but it is about the relationship with money, because they're showing up to make money. It's very, very logical. But it's funny because I hear so consistently us having to compete with like TikTok and Instagram and all of these influences, and of course then big media too, but all of these snippets of information that really put such a negative connotation to money as a whole. Some of it is rightfully noted, it is what it is. Others is definitely not necessary for it to have that negative connotation. But I feel it's our responsibility to give them the environment and the tools to have a positive experience with money and then their mindset around it as well. Absolutely.
That's awesome. I love it. Let's bring Jan Hill to the mic. Before we go, we do need to do a virtual round of applause for both Tracy and for Christine. They're both D Texas companies. We have Devante in the case of Tracy and DV8 in the case of Christine. So virtual shout out, give them each a round of applause. And we got Jan, and then let's have on standby Joe DeAnda, who threw his hat in the ring for another share. Good morning, Jan. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Tell us about your light bulb moment.
Well, this is just all so interesting. I mean, we are so interconnected in this group and what we're experiencing. It's amazing. Well, my light bulb moment is, it ties into the gap that we feel that Tracy mentioned with COVID and the pause that we had coming back together and working together. And then the money mindset that, Money Pro is helping our group with too, as well. There's just those gaps. But mine is our attitude about work, because we got to do the work in order to make the money. And I want to flip the switch with our group. Carrie and I've been working on human capital. It's our biggest cost in the business. It's the most important driver of our business. And we abide by do what you love, make money, have a life. We have it up on the office wall in Carrie's office. But I want to flip it just a little bit and start working with our group about, instead of doing what they love, loving what they do. And that's where the heart needs to come in, as well as connecting it to the head, because we have to do the work and we want them to be happy at work. And I think a lot of people just forgot how.
Yeah, you also talked about, it's really pride in the work, and not just technical skills, but a new attitude about the work. So it's rewarding, fulfilling, and fun. And many aren't really raised with that approach. Many come out of school without that readiness. So I think it's super exciting, and great shout out to you for what you're doing, you and Carrie and the rest of the team. So thanks, Jan, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Let's give Jan a virtual round of applause. Eden from Oklahoma. And where's Joseph? Joseph DeAnda from Colorado, from Trios. Joe, and it might be Joe and Karen, I'm not sure, but I think they're both with us today. Joe's been a regular, good friend. So where is Joseph? There he is. Good morning, Joe.
Sorry, I'm getting there. Let's see.
You're almost here. There he is.
There
How
we go.
are you?
Sorry for this last spring up, but we've been working with Qnity in Action coach Heath, and COVID was, guys, think about it. 3 years ago, we were all shutting down, and that it seems like sometimes it seems like a year ago, sometimes it seems like forever ago. But we're talking with Heath and really trying to get into the growth function and really focusing on how can we get this going. And we felt like finally after 2022 was a transition year for us with management and stuff. And so now we're starting to really work at it. Like Tracy was saying earlier, we make excuses, we get emotional, and then it's like, okay, we got to do something different. If you do things the same, you're going to get the same results. So Heath had this idea, we got to talking. So finally, we were focusing on retail. And what we did is I created this little chart, and we're an Aveda branded salon. But I don't know if you can see this, but at the beginning of the day, it shows us what the goal is, and by the end of the day, what it should be. And you can see that on this particular day, we got to 113% growth. So, but this thing gets updated hourly by my assistants, and it's on the door before every salon spa has this little break room, they get their snacks, employee bathroom, etc. But before they go back out on the floor, they see this. And then it's just out of the last, in January, we had 12% growth in retail. February, we had 3% growth in retail. It would have been 9%, but we had a snow day. We're in Colorado, had to shut down. And so for March, we're at 26% growth year over year. And
in
so
retail.
we're really in retail. And so
Wow.
we're really happy. And services is tracking up there, but retail is we're really blowing it out as a team. And so I tempted our team. I said, hey, with our brand, there was a leader sale. And I said, hey, team, if we can sell 100 liters, we'll have a little pizza party. Because Heath always said, bribe them with food. Food is a big motivator. So then we got to this past Saturday was the last Saturday, and we wanted it to do $2,500 in retail, and we ended up doing $3,500. The point of the story is this little graph was building throughout the contest, and it shows how many liters we were selling per day. And we sold 121 liters. Long and short, we made it over 100. The team was so excited. It propelled us to even more growth. And this is kind of what our chart looks like today. It just has the hour where we should be, and it gets updated daily. And it's been a really good, I change the graphic every month, but it's been a really good motivator for them. And also just a reminder that, oh yeah, we are, retail is part of the service circle. And so it's been a really, really positive plus. And so far in March, 65% of our days, we've hit 100% or more of goal. And so it's just been a really cool idea that was sparked with our conversation with Heath.
I love it. What a great share, Joe. I'm very excited for you. So many are in the conversation about retail these days, and I'm sure that inspired many on this call there. I see the clapped hands going there. So note to those on this call that we'll be soon opening up the Impact Awards, and these are the type of things that we want to learn and share as part of our Impact Awards at the Phil, and this is a really great example. So let's give Joe and Karen from Trios a virtual round of applause. Big shout out. We may or may not, depending on his transportation situation, have Michael Shea joining us. Michael Shea may join us. Michael, if you're not in a spot that you can do that, that's totally fine. I think that was going to be tentative. We do know that here he comes. Okay. And then right after this, we're going to invite Lisa Roberg, and then we're who's the Beauty Changes Lives executive director. And then we'll wrap up. Michael, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Tom, how are you?
We actually get to see you too.
I know I had to get the blur on so you didn't see how messy my office is.
All right. So we have a few minutes here. What's your light bulb moment today?
Well, I was listening to just the conversation going on beforehand, and I had to make myself a note. And as I was listening to Tracy, we went through that same thing of hiring the wrong people, keeping them on longer. And, it reminds me of a saying, what you permit, you promote. And not having your standard and not applying it and not holding people to it, you're not only hurting your business, but you're hurting that person too. I had a staff member who was with us for 12 years. And the last 5 years that she was here, she shouldn't have been here. And finally, COVID hit, and it was my excuse to not bring her back. Should have done it 6 or 7 years ago, but I was too soft and we were too close, and all of those things came up. And so, I think our biggest light bulb moment right now is how we staff, who they are. We're super blessed right now. We have such a diverse, lovely, beautiful staff. I'm just thrilled every day because the staff decided that as we hire, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but I'm going to say it because, Tom, I'm a little on the blunt side. We hire people. We don't hire assholes. And that's, if you can't be a nice person, if you can't believe in what we're doing, you can't be here. So that's my biggest light bulb moment. This has been, this has been really good for me.
Well, Michael, I've been dying to get you on camera for a while here, and I want to hear more from you. By the way, so just Michael is a school owner out in the Seattle area. He's become a good friend and over the years. He actually has grown up in an area very close to me, so we got to have a lovely lunch with you and your wife and partners. So we're going to see you at the Phil, right?
Absolutely.
So one of the most exciting things about the Phil this year, you guys, I'm so excited about this, is that we're going to have more school owners like Michael there. And we're going to bridge our communities together. We're going to see schools and salons be in conversations about how to maximize their partnerships, because we're both parts of the ecosystem. And on Tuesday in particular, we're going to really lean into schools and salons and Qnity. We've got panel, we've got some great, fun, cool stuff. And Michael, you and Nicole Cumberlander came to the Phil last year. You were two school owners, and we knew that was sort of like, let's tip our toe in a little bit. And I'm so glad we're going to see you in Austin this year.
Yeah, it'll be great. I'm excited for it. I'm very excited.
All right. Well, next time you're in my neighborhood, let's connect. Everybody give Michael a virtual round of applause. And thanks for sharing and getting up so early this morning. So
see you soon.
All right. All right. Last but not least, let's invite Lisa Roberg. And this is not necessarily a light bulb moment. This is a save the date moment. So Lisa, hopefully she's still with us this morning. I saw there she's coming out. Okay. So Lisa, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Tom. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear. So you're joining us from Florida, is that correct?
I am. And yes, what great topics today. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I know you spoke about gratitude. I'm so grateful to be here with you. Thank you.
Well, we love having you as the new executive director of Beauty Changes Lives. Are we going to see you on camera today or not? I think you told us you weren't going to be able to. So all good. It's great to have you join us. So in a short number of weeks, Lisa, we have a big event going on. What's the big event?
We do. We have our Beauty Changes Lives Changemakers Gala. We are so excited. And Tom, thank you so much for all of your support and Qnity support. For those who are not familiar with us, Beauty Changes Lives is a nonprofit dedicated to making beauty and wellness the first choice career. And we follow beauty professionals throughout their career journey. So we provide scholarships, mentorships, advanced education. And this Changemakers Gala coming up is an opportunity to share the beauty of what we do with the industry. And it's going to take place during the America's Beauty Show weekend on Sunday, April 16th. At 6 p.m. So it's going to be an incredible evening. And we would love for those of you here to come join us and join Tom and the Qnity team.
Well, it's in the greater Chicagoland area, and I see my good friend Tony Gordon's join us. So Tony, a little prompt to you. If you haven't signed up, geez, you should sign up, Tony, because I'd love to see you there that night. So yeah, I'll be there with my wife, Mary. I think Aaron's going to be joining us. We have a new team member from the Chicago area that's going to be joining us. And it is such an amazing event, and we'd really love to see as many of you as possible try to attend. Certainly those of you in the Midwest, close to the Chicago area, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, et cetera, et cetera. But it's worth traveling to, because the America's Beauty Show is a great event too. And Lisa, we're going to keep talking about that every week. And then soon, Lisa, we're really going to start building up to our Lightbulb Moments event in May. Which we'll have for the second year, Beauty Changes Lives. It'll be a Beauty Changes Lives fundraiser. We already have a ton of people signed up for that Sunday night, and all the proceeds go to Beauty Changes Lives. So Lisa, we'll invite you on one of these sessions. We'll dive a little bit deeper into you and your universe, and give you more of a proper welcome in the future, okay?
I will look forward to it. Thank you so much, Tom.
All right. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat there, and I am really doing my very best to keep these sessions at the 45-minute mark or shorter. We have a few more minutes to wrap up, but before anything else, I do want to give one more virtual shout out to the many members that of this call that shared today. So thanks to all of you for sharing. A lot of nuggets. Great to have members of the community in front of the camera and the mic. So thanks to all of them. Save the dates. Again, we have the fill coming up. If you haven't signed up, you need to sign up very, very soon. This is what Lisa and I were just talking about. Sunday, April 16th, Beauty Changes Lives Change Makers Gala. There is the website on this. I think that Sonia has put it in the chat. Thank you to our sponsors, Lightheart Sanders. I think we probably have Jared and Kevin joining us today. They're such great humans, great team, and they really do a great job working with salons and spas in the, schools, salons, and spas in the beauty industry. So they've been great sponsors for a very long time. So thank you to Lightheart Sanders. Also, Ally Health is a sponsor, which is virtual care. And we have done some episodes on that. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to hear from you. We are off next week. And then we're back on. I'm always messed up on this one, so forgive me. I'm pretty sure we're off next week. And then we're on the week after that. So I so appreciate all of you spending your time with us today. Go to our website and submit Lightbulb Moments. We love having guests like we did today. And so with that, we will call it a wrap, and we'll see all of you very soon. Thanks again for joining us.